Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, I want to talk about Evolving Skies, but more importantly, I want to talk about the investability of Evolving Skies because I'm already starting to see a lot of warning signs on where the trajectory of Evolving Skies is going, and I want to know, is this going to correlate into what we see modern products investability being from now going further? The biggest concern I'm seeing right now is very strong price resistant points being formed. And what I mean by that, by saying price resistant points, is prices for products already at pre-order prices are really starting to establish themselves. And not only are they establishing themselves, they're establishing themselves on a very large end. And an example of this would be like Pokemon Center. Right now on Pokemon Center, you can go get your pre-orders in. Right now, they really only have the packs available and booster boxes. But already, because at pre-order prices, yes, Pokemon Center is on the very, very high end of price for booster boxes. And I personally would never recommend you ever buying a booster box at Pokemon Center because just those prices are so high. But what's happening now is because those pre-orders have been open and available for so long, you're really starting to see a very strong price resistant point being formed at that $140 mark. Now, you're also seeing a lot of price points really being formed at like the $120 mark for pre-orders. And keep in mind, these different price points are just different websites or different areas you're going to start searching for to find the cheapest price product. But I'm already starting to see a few outliers break through those resistant points of like that 120 and starting to dip down all the way to the 110, 105 area. And this is for pre-order prices for booster boxes. So why am I worried about this? Why do I worry about price resistant points? Well, the reason why I'm worried about it is because for the future of the product, you really want not a lot of product to be on the market, and you don't want a lot of people to have been heavily invested in this product because you're going to find very strong resistance points as you go back up when you're trying to sell this stuff. And as it gets closer to that 140 area and then the 150, the 160 down the line in the long term, you could start to see a ton of people start flooding the market with a ton of product because, they'll get to price points that they feel a little bit more comfortable at selling, or by that point, they'll have sat on that product for so long, they might just be looking to liquidate to free up a little cash. And this is the caveat. The only people that will really need to free up cash and liquidate a little bit is people that were too heavily invested in modern. And that's like the very dangerous thing, but I'm already starting to see a lot of these early warning indicators start to form. But now, because Pokemon is able to print a ton of this stuff, is what they're doing with Evolving Skies, and that's really what the pre-orders is looking like. Just like the printers are honestly just going burr. And yeah, there was a quick sellout of the Pokemon Center ETBs. Now, I do believe for these ETBs, we will see restocks at the Pokemon Center down the line. Do we see any restocks for the Chill and Rain ETBs from the Pokemon Center? No, but I think one of the big reasons we didn't see those restocks is because all those ETBs were more or less error ETBs where they had 8 packs, they should have had 10. Now, because the demand was so strong for these ETBs, I think we'll start to see a few more like restocks hit the Pokemon Center in the coming weeks or months or maybe even years. And the reason why I say that is because they had a limit of only 4 of each ETB per customer, where the last ETBs they had for Chill and Rain were a limit of 10. But yet those ETBs sold out so quickly. I don't think they really threw everything out there at once that they could have, which in my opinion means that they're sitting on some of these ETBs for the actual release date of Evolving Skies. And that would make sense, right? Because when Evolving Skies gets released, you do want to at least have some product on the day of release to actually sell to the market. So I think that's what Pokemon Center may be doing. Now, can't quote me on this, but only time will tell for this. You have all this product readily available and at pre-order. And so what does that mean? Well, at release, people are just going to get flooded with a ton of product. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of people opening product. But one of the catalysts is that we're really going to start to see form. I think we started to see it form a very little bit with Chill and Rain, but we're really going to see it start to cement itself in Evolving Skies because there's so many different chase cards in Evolving Skies, is the issues people will run in with single cards. And the reason why I say they'll run into issues is because they will not be able to just easily grade those cards. One, PSA is still shut down, with the exception of like their high tiers. CGC's turnaround times are a thing of make-believe. There's really not a lot of good other grading options. Beckett is, impossible too. They've shut down so many of their different tiers as well. So the problem is these, call them mid-tier cards for Modern that might be worth graded at like a cheaper grading tier is really not going to be feasible at this point. And the problem is with Ultra Modern cards, the only possible option would be CGC. But the problem is CGC is super harsh on grading Modern cards, and I can now say this definitively because I have sent some Modern cards to CGC. I have got a lot of my returns back, and a lot of those returns were 8.5s, 9s, 9.5s, no 10s for Modern cards. But a lot of those 9.5s that I got back, I truthfully believe they all would have been PSA 10s. So because you're getting these lower grades, and you can make the argument, is a 9.5 equal to a PSA 10 in quality? Yes. But you still can't make that argument that they're equal in price. So the problem is you're going to start to see raw cards for Evolving Skies really tank pretty quickly. Don't get me wrong. At release, there's a lot of good chase cards, and the fact that they brought back Dragon Pokemon is going to be awesome. You have two big different fan bases collecting this set. You got all the Evolution, so you have all those collectors, and you have all those Dragon Pokemon collectors. So it's an intense, solid set. But the problem is now with those individual cards, there's going to be such a flood of those cards hitting the market in raw form. And we haven't seen a gigantic flood of raw cards to the market because of a big caveat, because a lot of those raw cards were going away for grading. But when that stops being an option, which it kind of already is, those raw cards will then pull down the expected value of those booster boxes. And as you start to pull back on the expected value on the booster boxes, being a super heavily printed Modern set, those booster boxes are going to start to retrace really quickly. And the problem is when you have a set like Evolving Skies, which, when you look at the actual set and everything that it has to offer, when that set starts to really pull back and retrace hard, it's really going to affect all the surrounding sets. And as it affects all the surrounding sets, because, if you're going to have the option to pick up an Evolving Skies booster box at, $90, $95 versus a Chill and Rain versus a Battle Styles, which one of those three sets are you going to pick? You're probably going to be more inclined to pick up the Evolving Skies. But the problem is, especially with like Battle Styles or Chill and Rain, these sets really do have a floor for where a lot of people that are getting this product, from distributors, that they can sell at. So they're going to have to do one of two things. They're going to have to sell at a loss, or they're going to have to just sit on this product for, at least, for the definite near term until prices start to, balance out a little bit and they could, get their head above water. But the problem is if a lot of these people are starting to see these warning signs too, you'll already start to see prices retrace much quicker than they are right now, because people will just be trying to get out of their positions as fast as they can. Do I think this is already starting to happen on a very small scale for Battle Styles? Yes. I think we've already started to see it because I've seen a lot of Battle Styles being bundled with like modern sets. We saw a lot of battle styles being bundled with Chill and Rain booster boxes, and I've seen now some battle styles being bundled with Evolving Skies booster boxes. So people have been able to get rid of product doing those type of bundle sales, and we might see a lot of this stuff start to come in, really hit the market. But now the problem is if these raw prices pull down Evolving Skies, I have a fear that a lot of people are going to start to see all the investability of Modern really start to be pulled away and that rug to be pulled out from underneath them. So if people are buying Modern with that thought process that somehow Modern is, inherently or truly investable, they're going to get a big reality check. And there could be a very strong negative effect that a lot of the people that are only worried about Modern product might get driven out of the hobby because of this. Now, if people are getting, pushed out of the hobby because Modern product is no longer being investable or no longer being worth the flip for them, maybe they had the wrong intentions in the first place to be in the hobby. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that this is a very real possibility. And the reason why I say this is a real strong possibility is because I've seen the way people talk about Modern. I've seen the way people act with Modern. I've seen the way people grade Modern. And, just in the last video, I talked about the Charizard VMAX from Darkness Ablaze. 5,000 plus cards already been graded at PSA. People are strongly and very actively grading Modern cards. So now when you take those, pop reports of 5,000 and now make them 0, and the reason you make them 0, like I said, is because prices to grade cards are just so high that it's not going to be worth it for people. And at the danger of sounding cliche and, to do an Office quote of all things, I've definitely thrown up a lot of Office memes, but, Andy Bernard, what did he said? He wishes there was a way you knew you were living in the good times when they were happening. And right now, this is really that chance. We are still definitely in the good times of this hobby. There is a lot of hype going on. There's a lot of positive aspects going on for the hobby. I think the hobby as a whole is still in a really good place. But what I'm worried about is there's that trickle effect that's going to happen. And my big fear is that, what right now is just a very small trickle could start to really just become like a snowball effect and just rolling down the hill and getting larger and larger until the problem, that Modern availability and the real scarcity and rarity that is Modern can start becoming an issue in the very near term. And my fear is a lot of people might get hurt from that. But I just want to know, is Evolving Skies just that very early catalyst? And is Evolving Skies, as weird as it is to say, is Evolving Skies almost too good of a set? And I know to say those words is the most crazy counterintuitive thing you can say as a collector, that a set can be too good. And my reasoning for saying that a set is too good, because the question is, well, where does Pokemon go from here? As I've really started to see some of the cards for Celebration, yeah, they had all those leaks and stuff. Being a 4-card pack, yes, they had some really good chase cards, but a lot of those chase cards are really the promos in a lot of these different sets. And, having like the Gray Ninja being the promo card in the ETB, yes, these cards will be very collectible, the promos, but there's going to be a lot of them out there. Now, how strong these cards will do in the long term, I think that's still to be determined. But now the question is, okay, we had Evolving Skies. We're going to see a retrace there. Sorry, guys. I know it hasn't been released yet, but we're going to see a very strong retrace. Celebrations, it's not released yet, but we're going to see a strong retrace happen. So the set that's going to be released in November, the $1 million question is, Well, what kind of set is that going to be? Is it going to be a strong set? I know they're talking about like these V-Union cards or whatever. I think it's going to be a weird dynamic. I think it's going to be a weird card. You know, Pokemon is going to have to really put out something pretty strong. Because my fear is people are getting their hands on so much of this Evolving Skies product, and because celebrations, I think, will be readily available, people will be able to get their hands on a ton of celebration stuff. So if the November set is very lackluster, I feel people will not be like, you know, crazy determined to open a lot of packs, because I feel they could burn themselves out pretty quickly on these Evolving Skies and Celebration back-to-back releases. So if that happens, you'll have the demand from Evolving Skies drop, demand for Celebrations drop, and then the set that's released in November, there won't even be demand really to start. And don't get me wrong, pre-releases, there will always be hype. It doesn't matter the set, it doesn't matter when, there will always be some hype to it. But the crazy hype we have been seeing, that might start to dwindle very quickly. So my thoughts and prayers go out to Evolving Skies. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm not right. I hope that all the catalysts that I'm seeing starting to form, I hope they don't play out the way I expect them to play out. I hope Evolving Skies is released. It's a very strong release. Prices never crash, and they continue to creep up. All these strong dollar amount, you know, buying pressure, they're able to break through all these strong dollar barriers. You know, it could break through the 140 and go to like a $200 booster box. I hope that Celebrations is very strong, that it's nothing like Generations, you know, the initial lack of demand for Generations. I definitely hope that the new V-Union set, or whatever the heck they're calling it, the set that comes out in November, I hope it's not very lackluster like a Steam Siege or a Crimson Invasion. And now, keep in mind, too, we're also going to have to start to see some reprints come out pretty soon, because Pokemon did say they're doing that. We've already seen the reprint of Vivid Voltage. So we saw a, you know, mediocre reprint of Darkness Ablaze before that. So if Vivid Voltage has been reprinted and Darkness Ablaze has been reprinted, what are the two most likely sets to be reprinted? It is, like I said, a Rebel Clash or Sword and Shield. Both of those sets are not going to do fantastic with reprints. One, all the prices, you know, for the sealed product of those two sets will crash. And all the actual reprints that get put out there, there's not going to be a ton of demand for those. I think at the very initial wave, there will be people just picking up booster boxes, maybe because, you know, for whatever reason, they miss Sword and Shield booster boxes or Rebel Clash. But there's not going to be like a ton of buying pressure and a ton of demand for those sets. So that could act as a catalyst as well, on top of all the things I mentioned earlier in this video. It's going to be tricky, guys. I'm very interested to see how this all plays out. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. But other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next video.